So I'm going to cover 5 key factors that influence the fear and why it's so scary. And first of these is basically the fear of the unknown. I mean, if you haven't had to work on your voice, you may have not even thought about it until this point, or maybe you've thought about it a lot. Either way, fear of the unknown is a key factor for either delaying or just feeling doubtful about the whole process. To a certain extent, it does take a leap of faith, because like any new skill that you're learning, you don't really know where you're going to go with it. And in that respect, it's helpful just to delegate the responsibility of that a little bit to the professional that you're seeing. Because the way to develop the voice is really the responsibility of the clinician you're seeing. And then it's a partnership working together with you to develop it according to your voice goals and what's possible. So maybe taking the responsibility off yourself a little bit is a key way to view that. And also just to have a go and see where you go. Without having a clear understanding of the voice or experience in that field, it's really difficult to know what's possible. But actually, so much is possible with voice change and voice modification and voice rehabilitation. All different fields of voice have their challenges. But voice feminization can seem particularly daunting because you're changing a whole way of voicing. Very often, if we're working with the trans feminine population, that will be a voice that starts off sounding male. And then the goal of the client is often to have a female perceived voice by the end. It might be something different, it might be gender neutral, but if it's to be perceived female at the end, then you know that you're going to start a course of therapy to take you down that road. So it's very possible to achieve a voice that sounds female at the end of treatment, even though it might have started off sounding male, because clinicians have done that thousands of times. Factor number 3 is lack of confidence, and that's very linked to factor number 2. So everything gets mixed up together, and that's why sometimes it can be overwhelming. So a lack of confidence, again, is something that just can paralyze people thinking that I won't be able to do it, my voice is particularly bad, all of this stuff. But it's something that we as clinicians are really used to. All voice therapists are used to working with people who have doubts and anxieties about their voice for whatever reason. If you can park your doubts and lack of confidence a little bit and just try the journey with your voice clinician, then over time, that confidence will grow, or the lack of confidence will lessen. A good voice program and experienced clinician will be able to walk that road with you. And there's always a bit of a dual path that we tread in voice therapy as the voice ability develops and the confidence kind of goes with it. But sometimes it can lag behind, but it tends to catch up as you progress down the journey. Okay, factor 4, a big one, feeling fake. I get this all the time that, it's going to seem like I'm fake, or am I sounding fake, or I will sound fake. And here's the thing, and the thing is something that people have to accept for a little bit of the journey. It's that everybody feels fake a little bit in the beginning when you're learning any kind of voice modification, or even changing your voice a little bit, or even fixing it after an injury. There's a feeling when you're trying the exercises initially that they don't feel like you. Well, in a way that makes sense, because you're kind of changing the you voice at the start into something else. And I call it the sticky period that people have to go through. You kind of have to go through this little sticky period where you're kind of developing the voice and shaping it. And in a way, that sticky period is what naturalizes the voice by the end. So the goal is not to have a voice that you're putting on. That actually wouldn't be a successful outcome of therapy at all. It's actually that your own voice just evolves into this different voice. But to get to that bit, you have to go through the bit that's a bit challenging. It feels a bit sticky, and the fake thing doesn't go on for long, but there's a little period where people feel like they might be putting a voice on, but by the end it shouldn't feel like that. Linked to that is the fact that developing your own voice to change into something else that feels quite natural is not the same as an actor who puts on a voice for a character and can step into that voice for that character. The goal is that the voice will evolve, and if people are seeking a female voice at the end, that's what we aim to achieve. And it will naturalize, because when you practice something and it's your own voice that you're changing, you're not putting on a voice, you're just letting your voice develop into something else with a series of exercises that help you get there. It will be a naturalized version by the end, and some people can't even remember their old voice or even do their old voice, because the voice that they've used, say they've been using the fem voice quite effectively for a few weeks, a few months, sometimes that voice sticks much easier than people think. Factor 5, feeling self-conscious is completely natural and actually completely expected. I don't think I've ever had a client who didn't feel self-conscious at some point, and especially at the start of treatment. Because like learning any new skill, we get self-conscious. You know, some people, if you sit on a horse for the first time, you're going to feel self-conscious for most people. However, the clinicians are aware of that. We're used to working with people who have that kind of maybe anxiety and that slight trepidation. So it's not something that anybody needs to be worried about or even apologize for. And just having a go and starting and being aware that along the way, we will give tips about how to manage that self-consciousness and how to have a go. And actually by practicing with the therapist, which is really quite a private thing and a confidential thing, it just develops a little bit of getting over that self-consciousness in a safe environment, a safe therapeutic and supportive environment. So that kind of that holds the person in a supported way through the beginning of the journey. And then as you get used to doing the voice, it becomes less of an issue. And then trying to do it with selected phrases in certain places. And once often people try it in certain different environments, that often starts to build the confidence, and your self-consciousness lessens. And some people it will take longer and they make all their gains towards the middle or the end of the treatment, and some people are able to adopt it a little bit quicker in, say, the first and the second stage. But everybody's different and everybody just gets to it when they can, and we just work with the person to the point that they feel that they're happy with their voice. I've had so many people say that they didn't use their voice in public, they were too scared to use their voice in public. At the start of treatment, they were avoiding conversations and social things because of their voice. They're avoiding the telephone. But by the end, if they feel comfortable with those things and they are able to talk more and they are able to use the phone, then that is a real good marker of successful therapy, when people feel that their voice is just not really an issue and they're just comfortable to use it. So this kind of thing might be easy for me to say, and I've seen it all through my career, but actually when you see the change that happens in someone's voice and how much more comfortable they feel, and it's not coming just from clinicians but coming from a person, or you can hear a case, that really illustrates things more clearly. And there's a voice sample I'm going to include in this video, of kind of a before and an end of treatment recording from a person who started off very, very doubtful and fearful, and all the 5 factors that I've mentioned, not very confident that they could change their voice. They didn't think much was possible. They thought maybe they might be able to neutralise the pitch a little bit just with therapy alone. And they thought, well, they were just giving it a little go really, but probably thinking I might have to consider voice surgery as well. So we just did the usual program, just took through the voice feminization program, and by the end they did achieve a voice that was female, and they were very happy with the sound of as a female voice, and also that they felt socially very comfortable. And that was so important to me, because this person had said at the start that they were avoiding talking in public, pretty much keeping quiet, not having confidence on the phone, and it's a totally different story now. So I thought I would share that voice with you in this video.
Today I'm going to be probably going to the shops. I'll follow that up with a trip to the Lavender Farm, which is a small farm near Sevenoaks that sells various lavender themed goods, I guess. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colours.
So this morning I got up quite late and I had croissants for breakfast. After that, I reluctantly got on to the tidying, and I did some budgeting to justify buying a new dress. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colours. These take the shape of a long, round arch, with its path high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it.
So if you're still having doubts about voice therapy and what it can do for you, I did another video that you can check out that goes into this in a bit more detail.